It's an honor for me to be able to share a little bit about Sri Lanka, whom you have just raised money for. And Isaac sent me a note and asked me if I would share. My husband and I were there a little over 3 years, and it was an honor to go away from our home, 26 hours away from family and friends to something new. But it was a journey that God taught us many lessons through, and we're grateful for that. One lesson that we learned, we always knew world service was important. But when you are on the receiving end of World Services gifts and gifts from CORE, it is a life-changing happening. It does change lives. Recently, evidently, you were kind enough to send money to Sri Lanka to help with their youth camp. Now, we were participants in many of those camps. And if you don't know, Sri Lanka is 67% Buddhist. So to get people, especially young people, together to hear God's word and study God's word and just to motivate them and encourage them to go back into a Buddhist culture is extremely important. There's many, many times that when you turn Christian, in Sri Lanka, you lose your family. So these camps are very, very important. And at these camps, there's usually about 200 to 300 young people that gather. When we were there, it was in their largest division, Rambukana. But we've grown out of that. Colonels Venters have mentioned that they've grown out of that now, which is a good thing. And they're going to have to rent a conference center. And it's nothing like you can imagine conference center. But it's important to them. And they're going to meet together. And their primary reason for meeting is to enhance the spiritual growth of all the youth that come. They want to build a good relationship between the youth so that they can support each other when they're out in villages, and they can get together and support each other that way. They want to increase building teamwork. And their final, but not least important, is to encourage the young people to find an avenue to serve in the Salvation Army, whether it be local officership or whether it be officership. They meet together. Here you see the group of some of them. They're 15 to 35 years old. And they meet. They'll have breakfast, which is bread and rice. They'll have lunch, which is rice with a curry on top of it, and then they'll have a meat at dinner. And they will have 2 teas. They cannot miss tea, so they'll have 2 teas during the day. And for most of them, I would say the majority of them, this is the only time they'll get 3 full meals a day. So that also, it's not a reason to bring them together, but that's certainly a God gift. When you send money over, it also feeds them and gives them something that they're not normally have in their own homes. This youth camp, the ones that you will fund, they will come from all over the territory, from the north, which is in Jaffna, where the Civil War was, and they're still recovering from that, all the way to the south. And it's a 13-hour trip for some of them. So also included in this is your gift for giving some of the CORE the ability to transport them on a bus, which is important, so they don't have to take a tuk-tuk or just not come. So once again, Sri Lanka is a great place for God's work to be done. It is very difficult, I will tell you that. And the officers are persecuted. So I just ask you, besides your wonderful giving, which is such a gift, to pray for the officers there that they're safe and kept from harm, but also can pray that the work that they do at these youth camps would be blessed, and that God would raise up some officers and local officers so that they can continue in Sri Lanka to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. Again, thank you is not a big enough word. 2 words, not big enough. You change the lives of people. Their worlds are changed drastically just because of your generosity. So I say thank you on behalf of the Venters and the Sri Lanka territory. And continue to pray, and God will bless it all. Thank you.